This is take, I think, number 8, because it's something that touches the heart of anyone who loves. And it certainly is very close to me. October 4th is the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. He's best known as the patron saint of animals. He's often depicted talking to the birds and talking to fish, believe it or not, and talking and taming a wolf. He's known for his love of nature, primarily because he lived outside. And that was because he felt God in nature. And he was a perfect example of simplicity and God's love. Knowing that St. Francis had this connection with animals is a way that people could connect with the saint as well as with God. People who have difficulties with religions could find their spirituality by finding love in these little creatures, or I should say creatures large and small. On May 24th, around 1:15 in the morning, our little Yorkie died. His name was Guido. And he died in the arms of the person that took care of him the most. The whole family loved this little dog. This person was always there to greet him, and who he stayed with that night. So God had it planned that this would be the person that would be there for him, and the person that he could say goodbye to. I've had pets from the time I was a little girl. One of the difficulties I've had over the years is developing an allergy, which takes away a big part of your life when you can't hold or be or have an animal that you could experience this kind of love with. Because something's always missing in a person's life who has never experienced this kind of love. So people who don't have pets sometimes have a difficult time understanding why someone gets so upset, or why someone is moved to tears even at a memory of a pet. But pets are unique. All animals are, but today I just wanted to focus on a pet, because a pet, no matter what the animal is, teaches us something that oftentimes other human beings don't. They teach us a kind of love that is shared between the pet and the owner or the family, that seems to define the type of meta, the type of love that God intended for all of us, and how we should treat each other. This is an unconditional love. They don't judge. They are often just the best listeners. They know when you're sad. They know when it's time for you to play, even when you don't feel like it. They get you outside when normally you would just sit in the house. They, in many, many ways, make us a better person. So if you haven't experienced the love of a pet, often you could find yourself more, and I don't mean this in a bad way, more self-centered. A little pet teaches you how to share your love and think of something other than yourself, someone other than yourself, because they meet you where you are. They don't judge you. If you're in a bad mood, they're there to come over and comfort you. You chase them away, they come back. There's just no end to the love that these pets have for you. It's so endearing that often people will say they're not a pet, they're part of the family, or my pet's almost human, and it's true. Maybe we could learn how to be more human by understanding this kind of love that a pet has for us. The truth is, they have a quality about them that I think God has given to them in order to teach us from a different perspective. If He can't teach you how to love another human being, He could teach you love through another creature. And that's often the case. People who can't respond or build relationships with other people can with a pet. And the reason being is they know they're not being judged. They could be who they are. They could bring out the best in that person. That person may be always angry and upset with people, but the moment they see their pet or a little pet that needs help, they respond immediately. Animals have this connection with humans. And as I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be a dog or a cat. It could be whatever pet you have fallen in love with. Not all people are going to love all pets. You have dog people and cat people, bird people. It doesn't matter. Whatever they're finding in that pet is a part of them that needs to be fulfilled. A void that has to be filled with love that another human being maybe can't do. A pet could have been there for years, from the time a child was little to adulthood, and shared many kinds of experiences with them. A pet could be a pet for maybe only a few days. Some people have brought pets in when they were wounded or sick and had them for just a few days, but in that few days have learned how to care for someone and saw the response of the sick animal or abused animal when treated with love. What we want people to understand is that once you have learned this, then you should have the encouragement, the desire to treat human beings like that. If you notice a person who has abused animal is looked upon as have committed a heinous crime, because everyone knows that these animals are innocent. They're innocent. They have done nothing, and yet people in their own way feel that, a power in hurting a small innocent animal, or just abusing it and getting some kind of enjoyment. In the Eastern religion, we understand the love of pets as being a very unique teaching by God to show people how love is supposed to be. And how oftentimes innocents are ridiculed and persecuted and hurt, not by doing something themselves, but by the attitude that people have about them, often people who don't even know them. So a pet brings out the best in all of us. They're loyal and they will die for you. The very thing that Jesus taught that human beings should feel, we learn from these little animals. And these are the kinds of teachings that we want people to understand, that God will go to any extent to teach you love. If he can't reach you with another human being, he's certainly going to reach you with a little animal. I say he when I speak of God because most people are familiar with that pronoun, but in the Asian religion, we believe God is mother and father, because you have the protection and the endurance of the father, and you have the love and the desire to care for of a mother, where you have the strength of a father and the head of a family. You have the heart of the mother always and ever present. So maybe what people don't understand is, yes, God created the animals, but the love of the father and mother is what touches the heart of every human being who comes in contact with an animal. I have found that even people who don't have pets, which often other people look down on, is only because they haven't had the experience. But given the opportunity, they rise to the occasion also. Because there is no human being, no matter how we would judge them as other human beings, could turn their head away from the innocence of a little animal, unless you are just truly evil. These little animals love unconditionally. It doesn't matter to them if you abuse them or not. Even an abused animal will often still try to come back to the abuser. They're resilient in love. It's love that does that, because they don't have that animosity. If they become killer animals, it's as pets, it's because they're taught this. They're taught how to kill. But naturally, a little animal will gravitate to love. And I think that's what most pet lovers see. So is it difficult to talk about memories of animals that you love? Oh, absolutely. Because you can't ever forget them. You remember each and every moment you spent with that little pet, or the big pet. It could be a Great Dane. It could be an animal greater than that. It could be a horse. A pet is just a loving nickname that we give to animals we care about. I often laughed when I heard a husband call his wife pet, or a wife calling her husband pet, because it's not an insult, it's endearing. So a person who loves deeply often is a person who has a pet. How sad for people, especially someone like me, that you can no longer hold them or hug them or share with them. And you've tried allergy shots and medicines and pills to try to do this, because you know the importance of bringing that kind of love into your family to make it a very well-rounded, loving family. We have tried many pets because my children often were allergic also. And you try, but then you have to decide or make a decision that you can't have your children suffer and have to make the hard decision of giving up the pet. But in that sacrifice, the memory of always desiring and wanting a pet never leaves that child. But when a pet becomes ill, you set aside those feelings, those allergies, because you need to hold it one more time. don't be too hard. People who don't have pets. Because oftentimes you just don't understand how they feel. And pray for them so that they are able to, at some point in time, experience that love either again or for the first time. And understand that this friend that you love so much does go to heaven. Animals do have souls. We're told that they don't have reason or understanding, which most pet owners will disagree with. But don't ever let anyone tell you that God wouldn't bring these precious animals back again in heaven. That just doesn't make any sense at all. So, happy St. Francis Feast Day. Know that even in our religion, in our church, we have a place for animals where an owner can have a service for them. And we'll talk more about that later. But for now, enjoy the memories of your pets. Enjoy the pet you may have. Learn kindness towards those who don't have pets because you really don't understand or maybe know the reason why they don't. If they're people who just don't like animals, so they say, don't believe it, just pray that one day they have that opportunity to learn from an experience that perhaps all their lives they were afraid to have. Thank you.